Welcome back to Irons United for another rendition of our transfer show. I am Anton, and I came to you last night with a few of the links who, of course, were linked to our beautiful club, West Ham. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying potentially our most insightful videos where we do a little bit of digging into the players that West Ham are linked to. And we give you as much stats, facts, information as we possibly can. We discuss how many goals they've scored, what style of play they have, if they've assisted goals, potentially what they could bring to our club. Make sure you get subscribing. Make sure you hit the comments in below and make sure you hit the thumbs up. It's always good to hear your feedback on the shows, and just let me categorically say to you, we are not an in the know. We just want to bring to you as much information regarding any links to any players that we find, and I hope you enjoy the show. So, first up, West Ham, Tottenham, Newcastle are all interested in the Cherry striker Callum Wilson, according to plenty of reports. Bournemouth are expected to seek a fee in excess of £20 million to sell England frontman Wilson, who has scored 67 goals in over 180 games for the Dorset outfit. Callum Wilson struck 8 times in 35 Premier League matches this season, but Eddie Howe's men were relegated after 5 years in the top flight on Sunday. Now, we do know that Bournemouth are going to be struggling. Apparently, according to reports, they owe still £81 million in transfer fees. So they'll definitely be interested in looking at options to bring in some money. Wilson's striking force is the one that maybe has caught everybody's eye. His positioning and his intelligence in front of the goal made him a key part in Bournemouth's successful Premier League status for the last 5 seasons. But he's also has impacted the team's performance through passes in crucial moments, made him a preferred option for the England international setup when he was previously called up. He's able to pass through his opponents easily while reaching the final third so he can create chances. But he is the one who gets the work done. His positions are great. He's got a good vision. He's got great finishing. His off-the-ball movements allow him to be on the right place at the right time and take advantage of all opportunities. Usually against teams with a high approach on possession, Bournemouth players create their chances mostly on counter-attacks, sending early balls to Callum, whose instinctive finish makes the opponents obviously go behind. Wilson's also pretty dangerous when allowed to drift through the middle, but when out of position, his job is to put pressure on the midfield line. He's a hard worker, and yeah, probably one of the most hard workers in that position in the Premier League. One thing about Callum Wilson is, though, he has suffered 2 ACL injuries, and this is one of my biggest concerns, one in each knee, within the first 2 seasons amongst English top football Premier League. It meant that his first 3 years as a Premier League player was affected, but he has since recovered. He is fully fit and is completely focused and better than ever, I suppose you could say, even in a relegated Bournemouth side. Scoring goals was never a problem for Wilson prior to his first knee injury, and in his first full season as a regular starter, he struck 22 times for Coventry City, of course, before he signed for Bournemouth City. In his second season, when he joined Bournemouth for £3 million, he netted on 23 occasions and helped the Cherries clinch promotion from the Championship to the Premier League. How would he handle that step up seamlessly? He struck 5 goals in 6 league games, and on 22nd of August 2015, he scored his first hat-trick against who? Of course, we know well, West Ham. And then there was always talk of an England call-up back then. But in Game 7, he suffered his injury. He was out for 6 months. He pushed himself both physically and mentally to the limit. And he didn't have a holiday during his rehabilitation, instead focusing all his energy on returning and ignored the soreness in his knee. He did return in April, but only made 2 starts, and there were no goals either. The following season, 16 and 17, he featured in 21 games and netted 6 times, but it was clear Wilson wasn't the same. He lacked the same explosiveness that we have saw many a times against West Ham. Often, after suffering knee injuries, it's common for someone to favour the opposite stronger leg. Whether that is what occurred with Wilson, we don't know. But again, in February 2017, he ruptured the ACL in his left knee and missed the remainder of the campaign. But instead of rushing back, Wilson did, however, take his time, and he returned 2 months into the 17-18 season and scored a hat-trick on his second league start away to Huddersfield Town. 9 goals in 31 games is a respectable return, yet it still wasn't the Wilson of old. If we have a look at the stats from Wilson, I mean, he does read well. He started his career at Tamworth before he moved on to Coventry City, as you can see from the images. And then before moving to Bournemouth in the Championship. And I've stayed there before. He made over 45 appearances, scoring 20 goals in the Championship. And then he moved into the Premier League, and in his first season, but due to injuries, he made 9 starts with 5 goals. The second season was 16 starts with 6 goals. His third season, 23 starts with 8 goals. Then he had another second injury in the Premier League, which definitely had a problem for him. But he bounced back, and he bounced back with a vengeance. And in the 2018-19 season was probably his best return, especially in the top flight, scored 14 goals and 9 assists. And then this season, of course, after playing 32 times, he scored 8 goals with 1 assist. Let me know your thoughts on Callum Wilson. Do you rate him as a player? I know there's this kind of ongoing factor from West Ham fans that say, oh, I don't really fancy this guy. He always causes a bit of bother. I don't forgive the handball goal that he scored against us. But he is a quality player. I'll tell you something now, though. My biggest issue is he has suffered these injuries. And now he's proven me wrong the last 2 seasons when he's bounced back hardcore. But typically under the West Ham style, the West Ham transfers, that we bring a player in who's got a history with injuries, and you just can't help yourself but think, will that happen again at our club? But get your comments in, let me know your thoughts. Do you like the idea of signing Callum Wilson? £20 million is a lot of money, but we are going to have to be in the market for a striker, even if we do keep Haller and keep playing Antonio in his position. He has scored 1 goal in 4 caps for England. So yeah, he's an interesting one. Let us know your thoughts. Next up, though, again, in this merry-go-round of transfer links, is the Nigerian international, 21-year-old Josh Maja. As highlighted on the primetime show on Netflix, don't know if you've watched it, it's a really good show. Maja was keen to push through a move to leave Sunderland, but he's currently plying his trade for Bordeaux in Ligue 1 in France. But he's not so keen to push through the move this time. Instead, Bordeaux may be forced to sell their asset due to the financial troubles from the COVID-19 pandemic. And also, Maja is well known to David Moyes, who actually gave him his debut back in 2016 when he managed Sunderland, of course. But after back-to-back relegations, League One football offered Maja the opportunity to showcase his talents for the Black Cats in the first team on a regular basis. And he seized the chance. He scored 16 goals during the first half of that season as the Black Cats mounted a promotion charge. But with Maja's contract set to expire at the end of that season, teams from the Premier League, Championship, Scottish Premier League, La Liga circled amid the possibility of landing him on a free transfer. You'll see from the documentary details the transfer saga in some detail, and it's fascinating. And after his future was publicly played out in Sunderland offered him a new deal. And at the time, apparently, it was a crazy good deal. But to everyone's surprise, it was the side from France, Bordeaux, who landed Maja on a nominal fee. And of course, Sunderland opted to cash in. And then he started his life in the southwest of France. It's been a mixed first year for him, though. Let me get some images up here for you so you can see. He has impressed, and he's continued to score goals, including a hat-trick against a lower league side in League One. And he started this season with a great goal against Montpellier, but after that, he didn't play so much. So he could do more. He could be doing with more regular game time, but his form has earned him a call-up to the Nigerian squad, and of course, some reported interest in and around all the leagues. At first glance, though, he looks like he should be a classic target man, as he's tall and he's got some physical presence. And I tell you what, he is starting to show signs of being just that. Get the ball to his feet in the box, and he is simply magic. And all you need to do you know what? I mean, I'm not saying you watch the lower leagues, etc., but you just need to watch that programme. And of course, I know League One in England and the Premier League are very different standards. But when you do see him gain that ball in the box, and he's starting to show signs of what he can do for Bordeaux, he is lethal in the box. defenders struggled in the two leagues when he's been given a shot, even again for Bordeaux. And when he's got quick feet in tight situations, hence the number of goals he has scored. He scored 17 goals in 49 appearances for Sunderland and 9 goals for Bordeaux. And I think it's up over 20 appearances. So, he's playing international football. He's been called up by the Nigerian squad. He still is technically raw from a technical perspective, but he's an extremely confident operator, and whose record in front of goal speaks volumes about his mentality. So what do you think about the Maja deal? I mean, Bordeaux are struggling. At one point, you could be looking at paying 20 plus million for Maja, but they potentially are looking at trying to strike a deal with any club who would probably take him off their books. So he is well known and been linked to West Ham before, and he's young, he's enthusiastic, and I tell you what, just if he's got something about him and he's got a bit of ability, there's nothing to say these players can't make the step up, and he has made the step up to the French leagues. And he's not in the side consistently, but in his first season, scored 9 goals with an inconsistent team selection. It's not that bad. So get your comments in and let me know your thoughts on that link. Next up, though, is an interesting one. It's the Colombian international Morelos, who currently plies his trade at Rangers in the Scottish Premier League. Hope you're enjoying the images. Get your comments in and let us know your thoughts on them. So, what do we know about Morelos? He's a single-minded attacker with opposition's goal at the forefront of his game. He's small, standing only 5'10". He's not, of course, the tallest of strikers. However, he uses his size and his low centre of gravity to his advantage in one-on-one situations and relishes dribbling at an opponent. Think back to Jermaine Defoe. Now, I'm comparing them in size regions. Defoe had the ability inside the box, as does Morelos. Defoe likes to shoot from distance, Morelos doesn't. So the comparisons, because they know how to use the low centre of gravity, especially when you're coming up against big defenders. As a forward, he can take up good positions in and around the opposition penalty box in advanced attacking situations. However, he is at his best when pulling wide earlier on or in the counter-attacks, from where he likes to drive at defences, using his pace and skill to cut inside and fashion opportunities. Along with his quick feet come fast decision-making. He comes alive in the final third, and that's something, it's great that we're seeing Antonio getting it, but we're lacking that, I suppose, with Haller, and we don't have anyone else in the fringes that can come through and do that. He consistently finds angles for shots, and his finishing is accurate, meaning he's really off target, and he is also comfortable taking efforts with his right foot as well as his favoured left. He's 21 years old, and he isn't shy of working hard to take up good positions. He hassles opposition ball players, or he always puts a foot in for a tackle. He never shies away for a tackle, and all you really need to do is look at all the Rangers statistics, and we'll talk about his discipline record in 1 minute. The Colombian international made 14 appearances for his boyhood club, Medellin in Colombia, scoring 6 goals, which secured him a move to the Finnish side HJK Helsinki on loan. And my word, he made a massive impact. At the end, he actually signed permanently for them. And after finishing the 2016 season, he scored 30 goals in 43 appearances in all competitions. So, of course, made his mark there. He was, of course, awarded the Best Striker of the Year award, which secured him a reported £1 million move to the Scottish Premier League side, Rangers, as we have discussed, where he's gone on to score over 70 goals for Rangers. He's a tenacious striker, and he does find himself on the wrong side of the referee with 7, yes, you have heard it right, 7 red cards in his 3 seasons at Rangers. I live in Scotland. I don't watch a lot of Scottish football, but when West Ham are linked to a player, and we have been linked to Morelos before, I've also got a really close friend who's Colombian, so I've got a keen interest in the Colombian international side. I have seen Morelos, and I do think he's got potential, and I do think we could potentially get him over the line for a really cheap deal. He's young, he's got international experience. I don't think the Scottish Premier League is the best league in the world, but it's good, and they play European competitions, and he scored goals in Europe. So out of the 3 that I have mentioned, his disciplinary record isn't fantastic, but is he worth a punt? for potentially just below £10 million, because I think we could probably pull him over the line for just £10 million. And we're definitely in the market for a striker. And we're definitely, you know, if you think about the Haller, Antonio, if Haller stays, then adding this small, low centre of gravity player who scores goals, we need to find little diamonds like that. And I think Morelos could be the one. Now, there is rumours that Rangers are going to be wanting 20 plus million for him, but I really don't think a lot of clubs will pay that. I could be wrong. What do you think of Morelos? What do you think of his, his stats, his style of play? Would it fit into West Ham? Like I said, my only biggest concern with him would be his disciplinary record. But get your comments in. Let me know your thoughts on Callum Wilson, first and foremost, from Bournemouth. Maja, currently at Bordeaux, formerly of Sunderland, who you know from that famous TV programme. And Morelos, Colombian international, who's currently plying his trade at Rangers. I hope you've enjoyed the transfer show. I hope you've been engaging in the comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. And yeah, give us some feedback. And what we're doing, like I said, just to repeat, is we're looking into the stats and the style of play, the assists, the goals they score, and what they could potentially bring to the West Ham side. I'm bringing loads of links to you, right? We're West Ham. It's a roller coaster of a links. It's non-stop. It's a merry-go-round. Tomorrow we could be. Do you know what? There is actually. I could do enough for another video right now if you really wanted me to, but it gets a bit too much. But just remember, we're here just to give you as much information as we possibly can about any potential links to the club. Hope you've enjoyed. My name's Anton. Come on, you Irons.